That'll do, West Ham. Make it as difficult and frustrating as it needs to be. I'd love to sit here and I wanted to come on and be. I thought before the game, I had a feeling that we would score a few goals. I did, and I kind of went in with a score prediction of 1-0. I've got to give credit to Newcastle to some extent because I thought they would cause us no end of problems. I didn't actually expect Newcastle to come at us and play that way. I think in terms of the system, the back five, I think from what we'd seen last season, I expected them to be conservative. I thought it was going to be a little bit like the game we had at St James's Park last time, but they worked on us. They pressed us high. They put us in positions that we really didn't want to be in, and it was that unpredictability of the front two, in particular St Maximan, who I don't know. I don't know if I can give credit to Steve Bruce. I think it's probably a little bit too much. But when you've got a player like that that's erratic, dynamic, that's being basically given a free role to do what he wants, I think our midfielders, particularly Declan Rice and Souček, we really didn't know what to do with him. We can talk about defensive problems because there were some, but just in terms of the way that Newcastle were able to get the ball in our final third and then create, it came through St Maximan. He's had a fantastic record against us previously. We knew that. I didn't think he'd be fit for the game. But just the manner in which he drives with the ball, the unpredictability that I think caught our midfield and both our defence out. We didn't really know whether to go and press him or whether to sit back. And I think it just took West Ham by surprise, if I'm honest. I don't think we thought Newcastle were going to play like that. West Ham, in terms of getting forward in the final third, I think we look better than even we did last season. We can talk about transitions and counter-attacks, and I think that's West Ham's bread and butter, but in possession, we're improving. I'm liking the link up between the attacking midfield three. I'm liking the fact that Creswell's getting in a really far and wide position on that left-hand side to either get deliveries into the box or to pick it up and recycle possession. That's impressive, but naturally it leaves you weak to Newcastle's counter-attack. The first goal, it kind of felt predictable because Newcastle started really brightly. Miguel Almiron as well, in particular, in that midfield, driving with the ball. I said in the preview that you could find him in certain positions, whether it's wide or down the middle, and counter-attacking as a front three. They did that. Declan, for that, I mean, it's easy for me to sit here and say, well, maybe Dec should have stood him up and waited a little bit longer. You can understand why it's so difficult and why Declan had a little bit of a conundrum. And I felt that he dealt with that a lot better in the second half. The ball comes in. Craig Dawson, for me, he's lost his man. Now, we can talk about Callum Wilson as a centre forward. I think he's a fantastic centre forward. I think his movement's brilliant. He'll always work hard. And the way that he times his runs is a real issue. The issue I have with how that goal was conceded wasn't really necessarily even from delivery. It wasn't even really from the fact that there was a breakdown in play on that left-hand side. It was the fact that Dawson allowed the man to run in front of him. And I don't want to dig Dawson out too much. I didn't think he had a great game at all. If I'm honest, I think he was our weakest player at times. And I know it's difficult with St Maximan and it isn't Dawson's game, but that's why it worries me because of the way that they targeted him. And he saw it against Everton last season at the London Stadium where Calvert-Lewin makes exactly the same run. He does allow players to get in front of him. The difference there was he was a lot further up the pitch. This was in his own box and you've got to track that run and you have to deal with that a little bit better. But credit to West Ham, I think that the best thing about us is that we grow into games. We always come back. We always thrive. And the goal that we scored, I was really happy with, if I'm honest. The build-up play down the right-hand side, I know we focus a lot on that left. The link-up, Benrahma, Antonio keeping the ball as well. How calm we were in possession in terms of creating that chance. I think that's what I was impressed to see. It feels a little bit like Moyes really appreciates that we weren't able to break down a low-block side. And just getting Creswell a little bit further forward gives us an option. And he trusts as well some of our attacking midfielders in possession. And so we found him, we scored the goal. I thought it was offside. Clearly it wasn't. It was a Creswell goal. And then you're thinking, okay, West Ham will get into the ascendancy. Bowen has a great chance coming off the right-hand side. Brilliant footwork to beat a lot of those Newcastle players. And the finishing was found wanting. I look at Jarrod Bowen and I genuinely believe that once he finds his feet in terms of in front of goal one-on-one, he's going to start bagging serious goals because you talk about him and his directness, the link-up play of West Ham and that almost attacking four. But in front of goal, he has to improve. He's got to find that composure. If he finds that, maybe West Ham settle into it. It wasn't really a game that West Ham I ever felt were really in control of, probably in terms of possession, definitely until like the 75th minute. And then we started sort of changing and trying to take the sting out of things. The goal from Newcastle's point of view, I mean, they probably would have looked at it as a very, really well-constructed goal. Now, I spoke about Alan St Maximan picking up those positions. And I feel that even him being on the pitch, even him finding himself in space, was so attracted to him. It's like bees on honey. Get close to him. You know, try and deal with him, stand him up, do whatever. He was causing West Ham a nightmare, and we negated the fact that they're playing with wing backs, and they utilised that. Newcastle, they played really far. They tried to stretch our back four all the time, whether it was Hayden with another run, whether it's Almiron, and then in that instance, of course, it was the fullback. Now the defending is shocking. It is really, really poor, and I look at. Listen, I know Krez has never really been great from dealing with aerial threats. I think there are good elements of his game. We see that again today in terms of some of the deliveries, or at least with the goal. And then there are other elements you look at and think, how on earth are you not dealing with that? And it was really frustrating for me, is completely switching off there, not dealing with the far man in Jacob Murphy. Maybe people might look at Fornals. Again, I look at Creswell in that position as a defender. You've really got to kind of step up to the mark and take that opportunity. So I was a little bit disappointed in that sense, and I thought he could have done a lot better. But I'd say it is what it is. There are natural concerns, I think, looking at next week. I think you look at Jamie Vardy in particular. Is he going to target someone like a Craig Dawson who let men run across him a fair bit? You think if West Ham, with the way that we're playing at the minute, if we're allowing players to get into our final third, I'm not trusting Dawson enough to get himself back into position, or sometimes he's letting players run off him. I know it's not his strength, but that is a natural concern. Now, second half, much, much better. It was about getting in at half-time and saying, let's reevaluate this. Let's see how we can slightly change it. It was a brave approach from West Ham. I think particularly last season, towards the start of last season, there's a stark contrast, because what we were doing was Jared Bowen and Fornals were playing a lot deeper. And they worked hard today. They tracked back. I thought Bowen at times was winning the ball. Pablo Fornals, particularly in the second half, started to really adapt to that and give a little bit of technique. Got beaten on occasion. But it was a brave tactic. I think West Ham wanted to go and press Newcastle. We felt if we were a little bit more adventurous in going and winning the ball, if we could create that turnover a little bit in their half, that we've got the movement of that attacking midfield three and Mikel Antonio to cause them issues. And we did. The goal's brilliant. The goal's brilliant. You look at Ben Rama. I think the way that we're opening up the play, we're using the width a lot better. And you find someone like Mikel Antonio who had a poor touch, and his game was very hit and miss. And even though at times he was brilliant, sometimes there was loose touches. Occasionally he's losing the ball, the missed penalty. You might look at the header. Again, this is why he's in the side, and it is actually a really good delivery into the box. And Ben Rama's doing exactly what Ben Rama needs to do, and he did that a lot today off the ball. Now I know I'm a bit of a Ben Rama fan. You'll probably be turning this off and telling me to shut up, but he has to do that because Fornals does it and Jared Bowen does it. If West Ham are going to succeed, we've got a very unconventional number 9 in Mickey. You even see that from the way that goal builds up. Then you've got to have bodies in the box. West Ham do that well. And Ben Rama finding himself in that position to get a header was a bit of a surprise. But again, if West Ham are getting bodies further forward, we do create chances. We will score goals. Now, the penalty. Let's talk about how it was constructed. It was constructed incredibly well. I thought Pablo Fornals' pass into Soufal was absolutely tremendous. The weight on the pass, Soufal getting further forward, we're pinning Newcastle back, giving them options. His composure as well. Obviously, Mickey misses the header. I feel like he should be scoring it. But it did come in relatively quick, and it was a free header, so I would expect him to score that. But I do think he should score it. I'm trying to defend him a little bit. And then, of course, the penalty now. It reminds me a little bit of Balbuena against Chelsea last season. And it's this rule of the players not necessarily looking at the opposition player in Fornals. He's made that run and then he's made the challenge. It's probably not a penalty. It's probably not a penalty, if I'm honest. At the time, I thought it was a blatant penalty. You see Fornals go down. There's no question for me. And then you look on the replay and think, I can get that. Over the course of the season, I imagine things will level out. I really do. And even if we're fortunate in that sense, I still felt we would have won the game with the chances that we were creating and how good our attacking midfield looked at times. Mickey's pen, I was never really fully confident, but again, Souček's made that fantastic run, and it was really cool to see actually the way that you've got 3 West Ham players running into the box, even when Woodman's made the save. And so we're 3-2 up. We're in the ascendancy. The fourth goal is my favourite. I like it because it obviously comes from a counter-attack. It's West Ham's bread and butter, and there are 2 key components to this, I feel. Maybe 3 if you're being generous with Bowen's pass. Mickey's run is outstanding. Mickey's held the ball up in his own half. He's run right through the centre of the Newcastle defence. They're completely out of shape. And he's giving West Ham an option. When really there's no right. West Ham weren't really forcing that too many bodies forward. But he's so powerful, so quick. He's making that direct movement. It's difficult to pick up. The second part is Ben Rama's pass. And I think there's 2 components of this game in general. Fornals' weight of pass for Soufal's delivery and Ben Rama's weight of pass in that instance. He doesn't have to break stride at all. He's got time to set himself. And Mickey's a frustrating player at times. He's brilliant and he's frustrating. But the fact that he had time just to set himself, I felt relatively confident once he was in that position. And then it came down to, well, could West Ham manage the game? Newcastle still created chances. I think the difference for me, probably overall, and again, he deserves an honourable mention. I'm surprised he's not. I know why he's not been mentioned in a man of a match vein, because I think you look at Antonio's involvement, Ben Rama's, Declan Rice. Take your hat off to that man. He comes in, he's pressing a lot higher in the second half. To be fair to him, he didn't really know what to do with Saint-Maximin at all. Both him and Souček, I think, were a little bit confused. The fact that we were seeing Declan Rice break up the play, aggressively pressing, winning the ball, setting the play, also finding the composure as well. You know, he's been levelled at him that he's not great on the ball from opposition fans. Well, there you go. Have a look at that. Because he's passing the ball, he's breaking up play, he's driving, and he's taking his time. And if he wants to, and like he said in that Soccer AM interview, he feels he can be a number 8. That's exactly what you've got to do. Take your time and set. And all of a sudden, West Ham look a lot more composed in possession in these counter-attacks. We look like we're going to actually take the chances, and they're clear-cut chances as well. So I was really impressed with him in the second half. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. We know what he can do defensively. He wants to add that to his game. And I feel like it changed it a little bit. It gave Saint-Maximin something to think about. You know, I'm not discounting someone like Callum Wilson, who continued to run the channel. You look at Matt Ritchie. I thought he began to struggle towards the end with West Ham pressing and putting pressure on that right-hand side. And he could deal with Bowen and Soufal obviously bombing on. But Newcastle really couldn't offer much once Saint-Maximin was out of the game. It became difficult. We disrupted their rhythm. They had to go and chase the game when we got that goal and when it went 3-2. And then, listen, you're playing into West Ham's hands when you can go onto a counter-attack. So I think it was a mixed afternoon. I think defensively, it does worry me about someone like Craig Dawson. And this isn't anything new. I don't think I'm bringing up anything new about Craig. It's just, I think, the way that West Ham want to play. I think we want to be on the front foot. We look better in possession. We want to be a side that's breaking down teams, and we're thinking and we're intricate. That's fine, no problem. We have to play a little bit higher up. But naturally, Dawson's game becomes negated a little bit. We know he can, when he's in a low block and he's got the ball in front of him and he's heading the ball or he's making a last-ditch tackle, 9 times out of 10, he's pretty good. But when you've got a player like Wilson who's sort of peeling off him, Almiron making the runs, I know Fraser came on as well, that's the concern for me. But again, I know it's the first game of the season. It might change. West Ham might adapt. We're constantly improving and adapting. But again, really encouraging, I think, that we've taken the mentality from last season in approaching this game. Really impressed with the way that we're playing and moving the ball at times. The goals we took, happy for Ben Rama to step up. Declan Rice stepping up in the second half. It's a good result. And thank God it's actually not West Ham losing at St James's Park, because at one point I did think it's going to be one of them days again. But it's a good start to the season. Put in the comment section what you thought about that game. Do let me know. If you did enjoy this video, this review, make sure you drop a like. Check out the West Ham Way Patreon account. Transfer window is closing, believe it or not. Seems like for West Ham, it never really opened in the next 2 weeks or so. So check that out. There is a description in the link below. There's a link in the description below. And of course, you've got the website as well. I'm sure there'll be player ratings. So I'll be interested actually to see on the West Ham Way website what the player ratings are for this game, because I think it'd be quite mixed. It'd be quite polarizing. So let me know your thoughts. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. West Ham begin the season in winning fashion. Typical West Ham, very mixed, but at the end of the day, I can't complain. Very happy. I'll see you all at Leicester.